Hey, welcome back. We're into stage 5, the first of the high mountain stages. It's already been rather exciting and aggressive. Unfortunately, the American Nielsen Palace, although multiple attempts at the break, missed the one that actually went. So he will not be in the polka dot jersey tomorrow. And it looks like this Felix Gao, who I don't believe I've ever painted before, will be the new Malio Poix. This is he did go over the HC climb, the Soudel, first, so he claimed maximum points there. And we are just now into the Marie Blanc, the final climb of the day, which is a Cat 1. Probably enough. Unlikely that anybody will catch him, particularly now that he's dropped the rest of the breakaway companions. Also, this particular climb has a bonus seconds at the top. So one of the riders that had been in this group but now is completely gone was Wout van Aert, who seemed to be racing to get himself into the yellow jersey, but he's now got caught by this group again and then immediately just disappeared. And I don't think that was a disappearing of lack of legs, but rather it's really on now in the group behind. And I think he got called back to help his team leader, Jonas Vingegaard, because it was going to be on this climb. There's enough of a breakaway ahead that all the bonus seconds at the top of this climb will be consumed. So it's not as so the tour can't, seconds aren't going to be won or lost by the major contenders today, particularly if, just, if those major contenders don't get into this, it's not, they're not going to go. But that being said, this Bora-Hansgrohe rider is should not have been allowed to go. He is just off the lead. He's just off also a surprise win of this year's Giro d'Italia, the Italian version, for lack of a better phrase, of the trying to figure out what flag that is. Might be the Eritrean flag. That didn't go as I intended. So this is the rest of the little breakaway group. Not at all how I intended that to look. Oh well. And that's one of the things with both watercolors and ink. You're going to have to learn to accept mistakes. We'll live with them, because you're not going to correct watercolors, and you're not going to correct ink. There's no erasing this. And since we're not using an opaque medium, there's no painting over the mistakes. So but this is Jai Hindley, like I say, and going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple. Here, we'll call this looking to see. All right, so that's the ink. Sort of trying to get this perspective motion going, the sort of the visual contact between the two riders to help inform what's going on in the image. And, you know, so these are all how you connect eyes. That helps move the image through. And of course, all the fans are looking now, since these guys have gone by, they've turned their attention to the next little group, particularly for the French. A couple of their heroes are in that group, the current French champion, Julien Madouas, Valentin Madouas, and also in that group is Julien Alaphilippe, one of the great animators of the tour over the years and a twice world champion. So, and a Frenchman, it should be mentioned. So when you're painting with the watercolors, of course, saturation, how much pigment to water ratio really is one of the tools if you want. So of course, Gala has this jersey unzipped, and these guys, of course, spent innumerable hours in the sun, but oftentimes, most times, with their jerseys up, so we don't, you know, their chests don't get the sun. And of course, you think about riding a bike, your chest is always pointing down. So I remember that as a kid, and I would even ride foolishly with without a shirt on, but my chest was always pale. And my thighs, of course, back then, short shorts were the thing. So, oh, yeah, I just realized. Actually, I think so there's text on this jersey, AG2R. Citroën can sort of, they certainly have the largest display of the team of the support. Like here, see here, right here, it's the same team. This is actually Felix again, same guy, but you can see how they're, and at first I was like, this is going to be hard to paint, but now I've actually really kind of like this jersey. And that's kind of thing, every year, either before the tour or at the start of the season, you'll see either new partnerships or new team colors or styles. I mean, pretty much every year. And oftentimes, most times in fact, it's done right before the start of the tour. And I always go, uh-oh, how am I going to paint that? That's going to be tough. And then as the tour rolls along, I figure it out. And certainly that jersey I was very afraid of. And the first year they introduced it, they actually didn't really factor it. I think I only painted them once, maybe twice. And so it wasn't really an issue. But already I painted them a number of times in this tour. They seem to be a lot more aggressive. And actually the Bora-Hansgrohe jersey has been a struggle for me over the years too. And in this year in particular, speaking of changing jerseys, they changed the colors of the green jersey, and it is very similar to the Bora-Hansgrohe jersey. Many people are complaining that how hard it is to see it. And I find it interesting. It's like teams that have yellow as their dominant color have to change their jersey for the tour to make the yellow jersey more visible. And what I find interesting is they're not making Bora-Hansgrohe change their jersey because the green jersey needs to be more visible. But that's neither here nor there. But it's just, you know, where's the parody in that, huh? So just working through, as I say, I like to work through the palette, working light to dark, which is always the case when painting with watercolors, but also warm to cool. And again, the reasoning for the warm to cool is it will reduce the risk of generating mud. As I mix color to color. Sorry. I don't know, every time I start doing these, I lose my voice a little bit. Get that gravelly thing going. So I'm going to immediately contradict what I just said. And actually, no, I'm not. I was about to go ahead and switch to the dark, but I changed my mind. Not exactly sure what now it looks like the Romanian flag. I think it may be the Eritrean flag. I can't quite pick it out in the image. So just a little sidebar. The way I create these is I'm watching the tour as close to live as possible. I think right now I'm only like, well, the time it's taken to paint this image thus far is all the outside of real time I am. So I painted as close to real time as possible. So I have no idea how this is going to play out, how the stage is going to play out, whether Jai Hindley is about to become the new leader of the Tour de France, or will Tade's team, followed by Vingegaard's team, chase these guys down before the summit? Or will they get close enough that Jay doesn't move into the lead, but does increase his advantage over some of the other contenders? I think that's definitely a foregone. But anyway, so the point being, I don't know what's going to happen, and so I'm picking images that are either what I think will be the ultimate story, or that strike me as visually interesting, or potentially significant. And sometimes I totally blow the moment. Totally don't get what happened. Or, now let me rephrase. Since I'm watching, and I know, and I've been following the tour since the 70s. I've been painting the tour since 2012, but I was keeping close tabs on the tour long before that. Just decided I would add a little bit of sky. That's what that was about. And now I'm popping back because I'm feeling like we need these little pops of yellow. So sometimes it's like, see, I hadn't decided what the hair was going to be, so I thought I'd pop back. Sort of leave that in the open for a bit, and then come back to it. And so I've talked a lot about making your brush strokes follow the roadway to help with just depicting the perspective. Well, clearly with the trees, you can see I'm kind of almost dabbing the brushwork. And that helps to give the texture of the trees. You can almost hear myself saying happy trees. But I'm not. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So that feels like the wood. Now, again, that's all driving the image back. So what I want to do now is shift over and actually I'm going to create this brown of the infamous brown shorts of AG2R. Say infamous, there's so many people that don't like these brown shorts. Maybe for scatological reasons. I've never minded them. I don't own a pair, but I've never minded them. And so getting those telephone poles depicted. It's interesting we call them telephone poles, but they rarely carry telephone signals any longer, do they? How things have changed and the language doesn't keep up. All right, so now really we just have the darks of the black of the shoulder of Bora-Hansgrohe's kit and shorts. And I'll use that same black, of course, for the underside of the helmet straps. Etc. So just working my way through with this black, and as I do it, we lose a little bit of the saturation, so it becomes lighter, or not. Then I'm just now adding a little bit more water just to drag through and get this little bit of roadway. So now as I finish this, it reminds me that I haven't said, be sure to subscribe. I thank those of you who have just joined the channel as the tour has progressed, so that you'll see all of these pieces as I create them. I am posting one a day. I want to come back in here and pop that red a little bit. And I'm painting many paintings per day. I'm already at 3 on the stage. But I'm sharing at least one of these real-time paintings each day. And I'll be doing that not only for the Tour de France, so there'll be 21 of those, but also for the women's Tour de France, the Tour de France Femme, and that starts the same day the men's race ends this year. So on the 23rd, which happens to be my birthday, there'll be 2 of these. So be sure to subscribe so you'll see those when they pop up, you get the notification, and all of this artwork, like I say, this is the 3rd one for the day. All the artwork is then posted on my blog, theartofcycling.blogspot.com. That work, those blog posts will always have a link to my website for each particular painting in each post. So this painting, that post. On my website, gregleach.com, where you can purchase the work. And in some cases, the images that are either more significant or popular, sell quickly, I also make digital prints available. That was a lot of information, wasn't it? So thanks for taking the time to watch. Love to hear what you think of the work. Please leave a comment if you feel so inclined. I can take a negative comment if you feel you must. And I really do appreciate, I've had a few people correct me when I make inaccurate statements, and I really thank you for that. So anyway, thanks a lot. See you tomorrow.